I am delighted. Whoever picked this, I don't know if it's Jimmy or Solana. This is the music from Snafu from Intellivision in the 80s or the 70s. Whenever Intellivision, it had to be the 80s. Snafu. Nobody remembers this game, but this was the soundtrack to my childhood, man.
How could we remember the game when we weren't alive?
Snafu. Nobody who was alive remembers this game other than me, is what I meant to say. Who thought to play this? Was it you, Solana? Did you remember we had this?
You had me put it in like
I remember
5 years ago on National Video Game Day.
I remember. What a great soundtrack that was. This was so advanced when it came to sound.
Soundtrack.
Like, you can't believe how advanced this was. That the Intellivision could churn out this kind of sound effect.
This is a kid keyboard. Classic.
Oh my God, this was unbelievable.
This is your jam. Dance to this?
Uncle Luke, if you're listening, sample this. Oh my God, soundtrack of my childhood. Now go look up Snafu and see what the game was. It was just Snake.
Snafu.
Snafu on Intellivision.
Snake, like from the Nokia phones?
Yeah, I don't know, where you would just you would try to wrap up another snake, I think, and
Yeah.
Snafu
hours I would play this.
It means confusion or chaotic state.
Yeah, like if you make a mistake, it's like, oh, what a snafu. But look up the actual video game on Google Images. Look up Intellivision Snafu. You will not believe.
Looks weird.
Terrible.
Yeah, I mean that was I mean you couldn't believe it. The line was moving. It was like smooth movement.
Looks like you're drawing on Microsoft Paint.
Yes, that's a great call. That's kind of what it was. Snafu Intellivision. Oh my God. Look at that. I'm telling you, this was graphically, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe how good this game is.
Man, and the black kid just got in your school.
So great. Snafu is a video game released by Mattel for its Intellivision video game system in 1981. One of a number of Snake games released in the late 70s and early 80s. Snafu features players controlling ever-lengthening serpents. And again, these were just lines, but they were serpents in the instructions in an attempt to corner their opponents and trap them.
Oh. I'm watching a mean battle right now.
Right? You could see how this stuff would get heated.
Then y'all had to go churn butter and get the well water out too? Goodness gracious.
I was tired from my Snafu game.
Couldn't go feed the goats that night. Snafu
We used to have the
went
milkman when I was a kid. We used to have the milkman come. You didn't get milk at a store. The milkman delivered your milk.
Did he really knock down the moms?
Apparently. The moms were home. They didn't work.
Yeah.
The dads were out. They were having a 2-martini lunch, a couple of cigarettes.
And the milkman
was a strapping young man, I'm sure. He had to carry all the milk.
He was knocking down all the
last
moms.
bottles. It wasn't light.
Was it like, what's it called? Pasteurized or just straight out the cow?
Pasteurized.
Oh, okay.
I remember my mom would you'd get a piece of paper that you would check off what you want the milkman to bring for the next visit. Like, I guess it would be a week from then or whatever. And, I'd be like, oh, come on, please, chocolate milk, and it could never check. Never allow me to check chocolate milk. Oh, but cottage cheese delivered by the milkman, so much better than the store bought.
That wasn't coming in my neighborhood.
So what if you just wanted, let's say you ran out of milk. Milkman's not coming for 2 days. What do you do?
Well, don't run out of milk.
Tighten up.
What?
Don't run out of milk. Hey, listen, no joke. Don't run out of gas late at night. There's no 24-hour gas stations in the 70s. The same
Really?
hours that any other store had.
So was there a dairy section at grocery stores?
I don't remember. I remember us having the milkman. I don't think you really had to have the milkman in the mid 70s or whatever, but it was still pretty prominent. There had to have been a dairy section at that point, obviously. But I do remember, like, don't run out of gas because the gas stations are closed at night. Don't run out of money. There's no ATM. It wasn't invented. Like, don't run out of money.
That's crazy. Like, were there selection at the grocery store? Like, could you, like, now you can walk in and get 17 different types of fish. You can get crabs. You can get lobsters, like steaks. Like, were there?
The only thing I remember as a kid, because I don't remember produce or meats like cereal and goldfish crackers, but I've made the joke a million times. When I was a kid, there was one flavor of goldfish cracker. Goldfish. There's one flavor of Cheerios. Cheerios. There was one flavor of Pop-Tarts. There were probably like 2 Pop-Tarts, like chocolate or raspberry. You know what I mean? Like, there were like product extensions like what we have now. Like, no, there was potato chips and maybe some barbecue potato chips. It is weird. Like, I feel like the grocery stores were just as big as they are, but they couldn't have been because there weren't as many products.
Just gonna say, man, the chip section is 40 yards
Right.
long now.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. There was like M&Ms or peanut M&Ms. That was it. Now you got caramel M&Ms, you got pretzel M&Ms, you got dark chocolate, milk chocolate, fudge, and to be quite honest, it's enough. It's too much.
This morning I got sour Skittles, tropical Skittles, and wild berry Skittles. I didn't even get the red bag Skittles.
There was no such thing as Skittles when I was a kid.
You didn't have Skittles?
I don't know. I'm gonna look that up. Hold on.
Yeah.
When do you think Skittles were invented? This is another good game. When was this invented? When do you think Skittles were invented?
70s.
Well, I need more specificity than the 70s.
75.
Alana?
1969.
They were first introduced in North America in 1979. In 1982, production of Skittles began in the United States. So, no, there were no Skittles when I was a kid. I was 12 years old when Skittles came to America.
What did y'all eat? Sugar cubes?
We had Chips Ahoy, and you liked it.
Well, the grocery runs were easy. It was only 7 items.
I've told you the story before. I remember, I was like 9, 10 years old, and my dad going, we have to go to McDonald's. They have a new thing called chicken nuggets. Like, they didn't exist.
Come on, Hawk.
Didn't exist. Like, you're like, well, what do you mean chicken nuggets? Like, how do you eat them? What do they look like?
How do you eat them? you powder them and snort them. You eat them. That's wild. It's not that, bro. It's not that long ago. That's the funny part, too.
Yeah, that is crazy. It's really not that long ago.
Let's do another one. When was it invented? Like, what's a Fun Dip? You guys like Fun Dip, probably?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as a kid.
Disgusting. When do you think Fun Dip was invented?
I was 80s, 88.
No, it's got to be way before that. Like, I feel like that's a vintage candy. because it's just
Right, because it's
powder.
just sugar.
Yeah, it's just powdered sugar with like a little
And that hard ass little stick.
that little stick.
I'm going to say 81.
It's just a stick. Nah, 1952.
Fun Dip is a candy manufactured by the Ferrera Candy Company. The candy has been on the market in the United States and Canada since the 1940s
Wow.
Boom.
and was originally called Lickamade.
What? I love that category on Pornhub.
Yeah.
That's one of my go-to categories. Liquor made.
Give me one more before we do 5 o'clock. By the way, 5 o'clock hour is the Funky Buddha Happy Hour, brought to you by our friends at Funky Buddha Brewery. I believe Dan Day will be at Funky Buddha tonight doing trivia. Head on out to Funky Buddha Tap Room in Oakland Park. You have some fun. You get some trivia. You have some beer. Time of your life.
What about like a Jolly Rancher? Just a hard candy.
Well, the hard candies, those are old, I think.
Yeah.
What about Starburst? How about Starburst? When do you think those
Starburst.
came out?
Good one.
Oh, right around Skittles, late 70s.
Because you had to invent chewiness. Like chewiness didn't exist up until the 80s.
They had Liquor Made.
You could lick or bite. You couldn't chew.
They had Liquor Made and root beer barrels.
Oh, root beer barrels. So good.
My grandma lived with root beer barrels.
Starburst. Did you guess? Want to guess?
I say around the Skittle age, late 70s.
72.
82.
So they were introduced in 1960 in the United Kingdom. It was called Opal Fruits.
That's not sexy.
I can't get to where. When did it come to the U.S.?
They saw their Liquor Made rolling. They had to bring something else.
Let's see. Starburst. Originally, Starburst came in the same flavors as Opal Fruits, though the lime flavor was replaced by cherry in the U.S. in the early 80s. Oh, it was an easier time.
Well,
We had lead in our
little red and
gasoline,
white.
and we liked it.
Red and white mints, Starlight mints.
Oh, I love those little puffy ones.
Yeah, them got to be old.
You like the puffy ones better than just like the traditional hard ones?
Yeah,
Yeah.
They have like air in them. They have like air.
Oh. What was an old restaurant that used to have a big bowl of puffy little mints? When you walk out, you spoon them into your hand. It's
Oh, it had like a little fruit filling.
Yeah.
Can you imagine doing that nowadays? Because people would just put their hands in there and shove them into your mouth. You take another handful.
Now I'm throwing my age. I remember reaching in with my hand and putting them with no wrapper on in my pocket.
Yeah, no wrappers.
Eating them with a lint on them, whatever's in your pocket. You just pop them in the rest of the night. Yeah.
Those things were so good, man.
Yeah, that's all.
We had every virus and we liked it.
Dirty dining. What is dirty dining?
Every dining was dirty.
Let's go eat.
Great. Yeah, someone texted in. They would pump your gas and check your oil. I mean, they would come to your car. You'd go, yeah, fill it up, and then you would just pop the hood. You know, you'd hear the thing clunk clunk, and they would check your oil
at the gas station.
Every time you filled up.
I was in Jersey recently. I was on there and told y'all when the dude ran up on me and was like, you know, what you need. I was like, I'm fine. Like, no, I'm good. Don't touch
Jersey
me. Don't
has
touch
to pump your gas. You are not allowed to pump your own gas in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And you pump $20. Now I got to get to do $10. I have 50% tip.
Yeah, you got to tip them.
Got to tip him.
Somebody
Shoot
says
'em a
the
quarter, though.
ATM was invented in 1960, but it wasn't ubiquitous. It wasn't like there was an ATM everywhere. I remember when Money Network came out where I was growing up. It was called Money Network, and you were like, "Oh my God." So you can just go there and the cash will just come out? Like, yeah, make sure you have your Money Network card. All right.
Yeah. Even I was a kid. There wasn't an ATM on every corner like now. You had to know
You
where
used to
your
bring
you had to know where your
everybody.
bank was.
Yes. And everybody
Yeah.
would bring their checkbook everywhere. This is my mom and dad's era, not mine, but you'd bring your checkbook. So when you paid for your groceries, it was with a checkbook. I just read
Check.
over the weekend that Target is doing away with accepting checks. They've been accepting Crowder's got. I had to write a check today. Because I've had these 2 Comcast accounts because I had the other apartment while we were building out this one. And for whatever reason, instead of moving, they made one account. I've owed $31 to Comcast for a few months now. But if I go on the app, it will not allow me to access my old account. You can flip between your 2 accounts on the app. But when I flip to the old one, it says, account closed or whatever. But they keep sending me emails. I owe $31. Now they finally sent a piece of mail to me that's $31. And so I have no other way to pay it other than to write a check. So I pulled out the checkbook today and I looked at the last check that I wrote 7 months ago.
You ain't living, Jack.
I don't know what you would write a check for nowadays.
That's anything.
But I mean, literally everyone has Zelle or Venmo. You don't ever have to write a check, ever.
Yes, you do. I do it. I wrote the checks earlier. The hospital sends you these bills. I don't want to go
But there's
into
like
this
a QR code on any medical bill now. There's a QR code. You click it and you pay right there off your phone.
Yeah, QR, quick release of your money to them. No,
Hey,
Jack.
By the way, I remember going to the grocery store before there were the UPC codes where, I mean, they had UPC codes, but nobody used them. So every item in the grocery store had a price tag on it. And then you would take it and the person would, 79, 31.
Oh my God.
Like every single item.
These self-checkouts must be blowing your mind.
And you remember the people they would go through, like the stock workers, they would go and they would have to label every can.
Oh, with the little
69 cents. Yep. But everything had to have a price tag on it.
Oh, the better times, Hawk.
Better times.
I don't remember the last time I wrote a check. I don't think I still have a checkbook. And to be quite honest,
I had to look for mine.
I was taught how to write checks in high school and then in college, like some BS course that I
book
took.
Day.
And my parents, I know, taught me how to do it. If you handed me a check right now, I would have to like Google just to make sure I'm doing it properly. I swear.
Well, I have my checkbook with me. It's pretty much self-explanatory.
It's not.
It says
really,
date on one line, paid to the order of on the second line, and then a long line it says dollars at the end.
How about this? You want a blast from the past? On our checks, you can write anything you want. Nowadays, it's your name and address right up in the top.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, you would put your name, your address, your phone number, and usually your social security number.
Really?
There was no such thing as identity theft.
Oh, that makes
So
sense.
you had your social security number on everything. When I went to UM, I still have my student ID from when I was a freshman. My student ID number at UM was my social security number printed on my UM ID.
Boy.
Social security numbers, like you used it for everything because there was no such thing as identity theft.
Your identity. It's there's nobody else with that one. It's kind of smart and kind of sad that we've got to a point where we can't do that.
It's very sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was on everything. You gave out your social security number. Like if somebody wanted it during Halloween, trick or treating. Hey, what's your social security number?
You be at the club.
Yeah.
Oh, look me up, Linda. 563-44-7643. I'm a good guy.
Oh, different time, man.
That's wild to me, man.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. That is crazy.
I have my old college ID, and my number is the Social Security number.
Let me look at it. I got a couple fellas that would love to have that number.
Yeah.
It's blacked out, man.
Jimmy, you know your social security number?
Yes, I do.
Yeah?
What is it?
Prove it.
No, Jack.
Oh, Jack.
I remember my mom taking me to like the pediatrician, the doctor, and everyone was just sitting there smoking cigarettes in the waiting room while you're waiting with your child to go see the doctor. There was no place on earth that people weren't smoking cigarettes. No place.
I
it
remember
was
that.
Never off limits.
I remember riding the car with Big Randy. Smoked out. Just, chain smoking.
There weren't car seats.
I used to sit on the hump.
Yep. I used to sit on the hump.
Yeah, the big hump in the middle of the two seats. Yep. The youngest kid sits on the hump. He's one.
Remember they had
we were tough.
They had station wagons, and the back was a seat, a bench where kids would sit facing out for the car to hit them from behind. That's where we put kids.
Yeah.
In the station wagon on benches facing the car that's driving behind you.
I guess we used to learn life.
You used to learn life.
Nowadays, these kids are coddled.
Strap them in and give them a mobile. A mobile? I looked up. I played with the smoke that was wafting to the back of my mom's cigarette. Play with the mobile.
Too busy coughing. Time to play. I passed out.
He needs something to play with. Give him my lighter.
Don't you? I used to just dig holes in the summer. It's like I'm playing. Next time you see my sister or mom or dad, ask them during the summer, I would take a shovel and every morning wake up and just go start digging this big hole in the yard. And I get like where the hole, I'd be in the hole and you couldn't see me from the house. And then I'd fill the dirt back into the hole. I walk to the other side of the yard and just dig another big hole.
The weirdest kid.
Who are you, Shia LaBeouf?
Bro, if you next time you're around my family, ask them what I did.
You woke up and you were like, I gotta go dig a hole.
I just be outside. I had an alarm since I was like 8 years old. I would set an alarm to wake up when the sun came out so I could go play. I wanted to leave the house. Probably had something to do with the living arrangements we had, and my parents hating each other. But, but like if I would just dig big. I'm talking about big ass deep holes, like 10 feet by 10 feet and 6 feet deep, just gigantic holes. I dig in the yard.
Can I imagine Lyle and Sandra if I started to dig a hole in our lawn? he would have taken that shovel. He would have hit me over the head with it because he didn't know what to do with a shovel. And then he would have sent me to an insane asylum. That literally would have been the end of me. If I tried to dig a hole, I would have ended up in an insane asylum for the rest of my life.
I was just, I'd make it, it was cool. I'd make it like a little clubhouse. When it was done, I'd take a little lawn chair in there and sit in the bottom of it. I don't know. I never got tested for any of that stuff that they kids having now.
Listen, no test necessary. You were making up to dig holes. Test complete, sir.
We didn't test kids at my age. We just, just let them live.
Oh, man. I remember when a newfangled shower head was released. It used to just be the water comes out and it hits you. My dad's like, you're not going to believe what they came out with. this has got, you can move it, you know. I'd be like, what do you mean? You just spin it and it'll go from this to that. Like it gives you a massage. Like, that thing gives you a massage. What is this sorcery? And then we had to wait for my uncle to come over and install it. My dad didn't know how to take off one shower head and put in the other one. I remember we literally had to have a cousin or something come over to install it.
I remember those. Tick, 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 and it just shoot out little beats of salami. Yep.
Great.
What kind of sorcery? Oh man.
All right, you want to do headlines, Solana? I could do this for the rest of the show, man. I love this stuff.
Me too, because it makes me appreciate now.
Oh my God, you have no
Thank God.
idea.
Thank God.
You have no idea. You missed a phone call? One you were waiting on? You didn't even know that you missed it. I mean, like, there was no answering machine.
Oh.
Certainly not in the Hochman household. Lyle had no idea how to set one of these answering machines up. Like, that was so off limits for us.
And no phones, no contact. I've told a story, bro. At like 6, 7 years old, you get up, open the front door, go outside, and just disappear in the neighborhood until dark.
You were friends with all the neighborhood kids. Like, that's who you were
like,
friends with. You were friends with the neighborhood kids.
And like little Johnny disappeared one day. Like, we didn't think it was a big deal. Maybe he moved. We don't know.
It was in your hole. I may have come out wrong.
Got beat up by Fat Frank, and I had to send my cousin to beat up Fat Frank. Then he sent his cousin to fight Ray. Yeah, you handle things different back then.
Man,
nobody was shooting anybody, stabbing anybody. It was life.
What a time.
Now I just subtweet them. That's all I do. Dig a hole, huh?
Dig a hole.
It was fun.
You got issues, bro.
Me and my therapist are working through this, Solana. We haven't got to the whole life yet. Just I gave that to y'all. We haven't talked about the whole yet.
Oh man.
These headlines are driven by the new Palmetto Ford Truck Super Center. I buy your truck at a car store. Palmetto Ford, we know trucks. Just run through what you may have missed today. Haywood Highsmith is back. 2 years, $11 million. Saw Damian Lillard, apparently, according to Barry Jackson, reached out to Haywood Highsmith to try to recruit him to go to Milwaukee.
Apparently, though, the offer was nowhere near. So, like, okay, you can play with Giannis and Dame, but Haywood Highsmith, I was reading some of the Barry Jackson tweets. Like, it kind of hamstrings the Heat, but they made him an offer that apparently was ridiculous, but obviously they didn't know that no one was offering him close to what they were offering. I got to look at some of these tweets. This is funny to me. But again, you get to the end of it, like,
yeah, Haywood and Caleb, they got beef with Gabe Vincent, bro. Because Gabe Vincent got the bag last offseason, looked like a total bum. Nobody wants a Heat system player anymore.
Barry Jackson tweeted out that this guy, Brian Goins, who apparently is very good with all the cap stuff or whatever, he says, as Brian Goins smartly calculated, by giving Highsmith significantly more than he was offered elsewhere, they've removed the Heat any chance to add a 15th player if a good free agent is still available in August, like Kelly Oubre was last year. Heat now prohibited by league rule from doing that, even for an undrafted rookie. And then Barry Jackson says, I don't blame the Heat in sense they could never have independently confirmed that Haywood had no offer close to theirs, but it limits them undoubtedly.
Let's still add that that makes Pat look a little. I don't want to say dumb, but it makes him.
No, it does. They offered Caleb a great offer and lost him. They offered Highsmith too much, kept him, cost them for another roster spot.
What you said so. Gabe Vincent made the Heat role players look bad. What about Strus? Strus was doing his thing in Cleveland, right? He was just that one game-winning shot I saw too. So let me not lie. He wasn't.
I think he
good.
ended up stinking by the end of the year, didn't he?
Nah, not stinking, but like, is he worth what he's making? $15 million a year? I guess you could argue he is. It's a second-round team. He was a starter, but I just think like there's this notion around the league. Yeah, the Heat are gonna they're gonna develop the hell out of these undrafted guys. Be careful paying them because when they're not playing under Coach Spo, you might not get what you paid for.
James Ennis.
Nah, but he doesn't qualify.
Josh Richardson.
Yeah, Jay Rich is one of those guys. Played really well in Miami. Went to Philly. Went to San Antonio. Just didn't look like the same guy.
And I knew Whiteside was terrible the moment we signed him.
No, you didn't.
Yes.
No.
Oh,
that's a lie. That's revisionist history.
Not a lie.
Revisionist history. Everyone wanted him, including Pat. Everyone wanted him.
And it's a mistake. It was a mistake.
It was a mistake because they didn't use him properly, but I don't want to have this argument again. What he forgot how to block a shot, or he wasn't out there on the court?
Okay.
He was terrible.
He was terrible because they weren't playing him. Hey, go be great. You get 8 minutes.
He gonna sit on there and clap his hands under the rim. Nobody wants to play that offense.
Marlins reliever Tanner Scott named to the NL All-Star team. He will play as the only member of the Marlins in the All-Star game.
All right.
Marlins are off today, by the way. They're back at it tomorrow.
Back in my day when I was a kid, there was no Florida Marlins. That's true.
Dan Hurley signed a 6-year, $50 million contract extension to return to UConn.
All right. Could have had $50 million. Well, how much for the Lakers job?
Yeah, it was around 50, but I don't remember the exact numbers.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it, gentlemen. Those are your only
you missed a TV
headlines.
show when I was a kid. If you missed the TV show, you missed the TV show. That was it. You talk about, like appointment television.
Yeah.
Like that. That's where it came from. Like you had to be home in front of the TV at a certain time. And if someone talked or the phone rang, hey, you didn't pause the show. You made a judgment call.
And if you had to go to the bathroom or get something to eat, you'd have to run. You run as fast as you can during a commercial break.
The phone rang. You didn't know who was calling, by the way. No idea. Hello? Mark? It's Grandma Faye. Oh, yay. Why did I answer the phone? It's Grandma Faye.
You gotta hear about the additions to the garden.
Oh my God. How's your coffee? I say, how's your coffee?
The flying stuff is what gets to me, man. You buy a ticket with a travel agent. She hands you tickets.
Paper tickets.
You lose those tickets, you're done.
That's it. You're done. You're not getting on the plane. Although back in the day, you could sneak on a plane. Didn't matter. There was no security.
No. And they'd reprint them at the gate.
No, they wouldn't. At the gate? Where are you coming up with this printer?
They could look you up. Sorry, they could look you up.
No, they could not. Nope.
Well, when I was coming, I remember going
on the 70s.
Yeah, because I was 83, so I was more started traveling in the 90s. In there, that was It wasn't like it is today. To your point, Solana, there's
You
no
didn't have to
virtual
show
tickets.
ID. You could go. You could walk to the gate with people.
Yeah, that did happen.
Yeah.
But that changed
'Cause I had
after
to fly-
9/11 because, like, you
Correct.
could do that up
Yep.
until the late 90s. You walk right
Yeah.
through, it didn't matter. What's the first time you went on a plane, Hawk? In the 70s?
Yeah. Yeah.
Bro, should be so thankful you're alive right now.
Oh my God. I can't even imagine. Thank God we didn't know. And it was, it was filled with smoke, especially because I'm sitting in the smoking section because my mom smoked. But the whole plane is filled with smoke. And then they'd bring you, your meal, sharp knives, sharp forks. And there was no thought of any foolishness. Row 14 needs a lighter. Anyone have a lighter? 15 people throw their lighter. Here, use my fire.